if people do pop on, manage their volume or their record buttons. Yeah. All right. So I was just kind of going to get started and read, it's kind of a combination between, can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I never know how this is going to do on my phone. Anyway, the law of solid ground. I just went and listened to I had read it already and taken notes and all of that, but I went and kind of refreshed myself with that the free version that we can get on YouTube. And this was such a good one. I think it was one because it makes you dig really deep and kind of see some maybe ugly things. And so that we want to change about ourselves. But I was just going to kind of read the notes and the basics of what this law is, the law of solid ground, because actually I never would have thought that it is what it is. I mean, of course, trust is the solid ground, but I think I was just thinking of stability or something like that when I first saw that law. So the law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. It is the most important thing. Leaders cannot repeatedly break trust with people and continue to influence them. Your people know when you make mistakes. The real question is whether you're going to fess up. If you do, you can often regain their trust. How does a leader build trust? By consistently exemplifying competence, connection, and character. People will forgive occasional mistakes on ability, and they will never give you time to connect, but they won't trust someone who has slips in character. This is the part where so all of that's just kind of the basics of what this law is. But the next part was a biggie for me when I started, and even today listening to it again, because he reiterates it on the free version. What character communicates. Character communicates. A person's character quickly communicates many things to others. Here are the most important ones. Character communicates consistency. Leaders without inner strength can't be counted on day after day because their ability to perform changes constantly. That was huge for me. Character communicates potential. Weak character is limiting. Who do you think has the greater potential to achieve great dreams? Someone who is honest, disciplined, and hardworking, or someone who is deceitful, impulsive, and lazy? Character communicates respect. When you don't have character within, you can't earn respect without. How do leaders earn respect? By making sound decisions, by admitting their mistakes, and by putting what's best for their followers and the organization ahead of their own personal agendas. No leader can break trust with his people and expect to keep influencing them. Trust is the foundation of leadership. Violate the law of solid ground and you diminish your influence as a leader. So this was huge for me because, well, I think it should be huge for everybody because we should constantly be looking at our character and what our motive is and all of that, especially when we are in an MLM like we are, constantly making sure that we're putting other people before us. But that first one, why the first one was so big for me, character communicates consistency. I think I would say sometimes for the most part, I have pretty good character. But when you look at my consistency is very lacking, which obviously means that there's something wrong with my character. So it actually made me look at things a very different way. Like even the potential and the respect. I think of my kids, like, sometimes I'm always like they're lacking respect for me or whatever. Well, that's probably not even pointing out. I mean, it is a character flaw in them, but some sort of character flaw in me too, where I think I might be okay. I mean, of course, I know I have so many things I need help with and all of that. But, for being honest or being trustworthy, I think most of the time I'm okay. But to see the direct link between some of those things and the consistency and respect and things like that, and how that is a direct reflection of my own character, was huge for me and kind of made me look at things a lot differently. So, anyway, which brings me to our guest speaker for today. So I want to talk about Linda for a little bit. So she took a really long time to sign up. She asked a lot of really hard questions, and and sometimes I didn't know what to say, or I didn't know if she was just didn't agree with what I was doing or whatever. Well, what she was doing was setting herself up to be in a position where she not only was going to be a part of an MLM, she had already built trust with her future team just by that, just by doing the research and making sure that what she was getting into was a good thing and making sure the products were good. It wasn't even about her, but she wasn't willing to fudge anything to earn an extra dollar. And so it was like that she didn't even see it then, but you can see it now, that was building such an amazing foundation for the team that was going to come under her. She was building the trust, and she had done the research, and she had asked those hard questions, and done a lot of digging. And so that began building that foundation for her team. But then we were talking about this the other day when we had a blitz, and this is where you see Linda's true colors just shine so brightly. We're sitting there and we're doing a blitz and sending out all of these messages, right? And I'm just hitting send, 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 send. And Linda's taking her time. She's making it personal. She's really concerned. I wasn't not concerned about these people, but I guess my mind doesn't think about it that much. But she was taking her time and making it specific, and she was concerned, and it was even almost, you could see, burdensome for her, thinking about what not what the other person thought, but making sure that her motive came across clearly. She was very concerned about that. And that's because her character is, exceptional character. That's why she's consistent. Even on those roller coasters, we all have those ups and downs, and times we want to work and times we don't want to work. But through that all, the consistency of her character always shines very bright. And so that when we did this law, Mom and I were trying to talk about who we thought would be best. And she was really kind of the only one we could think of that really displays that, just that, people trust you, Linda, and you are like a solid place. We're always saying that, Nancy, we're always saying that to you, like, we just want to come, and my mom said it too, I just want to come sit at the feet of Linda. And that's really because you've built this incredible foundation of character and trust and integrity. And that's why I love when I get to announce your different ranks, because you really built this on those things. So that made this law, the title of it, thinking about you and how you've built your business, has made the title, where I said in the beginning, I didn't know why they said that this is the law of solid ground. It makes that very clear, or paints that picture, that you painted that picture. You built this on solid ground. You're building this upon solid ground, and that's because of your character. So I'm so excited for you to share with us, and I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, and you can kind of introduce yourself. I think everybody on here knows you, but give a little introduction and talk about how you started your business, and why it maybe took you a little bit longer to get started, and all of those things. I'm excited.
Wow, I was like gonna cry. I was trying not to cry the whole time, because when I cry, my whole face like falls up.
Don't cry.
It could happen. Wow, that's high praise. So I'm just trying to like let it go right now and think about what I'm going to talk about. So, as most of you already know, I'm a mom of 8, homeschool. 6 of those 8 kids. I have an 8-month-old baby, so 15 years old down to 8-month-old. So this life is a little crazy. We're adding on to our house, so things are wild. My husband has 2 jobs and works till 10:30 at night. So I think, like a lot of people, when people say Plexus is easy for you, because I'm like, yeah, well, that's not true, right? So I think that's all of us. We all live life, and we all fit this in where we can, and make Plexus work for us, not us work for Plexus. So Rossi's telling you the truth when she says I grilled her, because I really am concerned about ingredients. That's always been a huge deal for me. Like way before people were talking about hydrogenated oil and trans fats and stuff like that 20 years ago, I was doing that. And so it was a big deal. I went through every ingredient, and we would have homeschool co-op, and I would come and say, well, what about this one, Rossi? And then I would go back home and click on the news tab on Google and research that way. I always tell all of my people, like, look at the news tab. Don't just go search on Google and find the yucky stuff. Go find real research. So anyway, I really did do that to Rossi. And so I was one of those people, the people that you fear, the ones who are going to ask you about every little thing. And what is this? Why would I be taking this? You know, I was on and on and on. And we needed a way to have a little more income. So Mike was looking at getting a second job, and I called a nurse friend who has a pharmacist husband, and I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? Is this a bad idea? And she said, I've secretly been taking Plexus for 3 or 4 months. So you should totally do this. This is a great product. You should do it. Don't be afraid. Jump in. It's going to be great. And so I did. That was like the last confirmation I needed. And when I gave Mike that confirmation, he gave me the go. So it was huge. And like Rossi said, I want to know that people can trust what I say. So I really do research stuff. If I repost something somebody posts, you can pretty much bet that I went and researched what they said before I reposted it. I go and look up the person they're talking about. I've seen things like Rhonda's testimony like blown up huge, and I recognize it and I change it, or I delete stuff and I put it in my own words, because I am very concerned about people trusting what I say and sticking with me for the long term. You know, if Plexus ever died, which I don't think is going to happen, or if I decided not to do this business, I don't want to be lost without my character and without the people that I've tried to share this with. I want them to know that they can trust me still, and that Plexus isn't all that I am, and that I'm not willing to compromise who I am and who God's made me and the calling that God has on my life for a product that I'm selling to people. So, and I don't want to turn this totally into a Bible study, but as I was studying this chapter, I couldn't help but think, like Proverbs 22:1 says, a good name is to be chosen rather than riches, and favor is better than silver or gold. And I would rather have people know that I love them and to have all the wealth this world holds. So I can't ever talk without crying when I really strongly believe in something. So forgive me, you're probably going to see that a couple times while I'm talking, but it really is important for people to trust you and to be able to walk a journey with you. I'd rather walk a journey with people who trust me and love me and whom I can love than to walk alone and be on a high pedestal and have dragged them all along in a position of deceit or whatever. So this really was huge. So Rossi messaged me and she's like, I'd really like for you to do this chapter. Look, I knew that I would cry. So I said, I kind of said, well, I haven't even looked at it yet. I don't even know what it is. But she said, no, I really think this is you, and that you will really want to, do this chapter, that you should really do this. And as I was reading, I was like, this is the thing I most care about. This is the thing that has mattered most to me, that I've been most concerned about with Plexus. And so I don't know, it's big deal to me when I finally read it. And I knew that I could trust Rossi, right? Because she's trustworthy. She has good character and we trust her. And so I just said, well, I feel, without even knowing what the chapter was about, I told her I would do it because I trust her. And I knew that she knew me well and that she knew if I could handle this. So it's kind of crazy, but I just said, okay, I'll do it. I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'll do it. And I got home and then looked at it and said, oh, this really is a good chapter. I love this. So, sorry, I'm looking at notes. So there are things that I very much struggle with this in this chapter, but there are things that resonate with me that, like I said, this is the thing I probably care the most about, and I haven't even read the rest of the book, but I can tell you that this was my biggest concern with joining Plexus and getting involved in this company. And so Mike and I were talking about this chapter, and I was telling him, this is the thing I most care about, and so it's really a big deal for me to do this. And he said, you know what, look, find what I wrote down, because sometimes I get my words minced if I don't read what I had, and now I can't find it. That I'd rather have good integrity and character than have the sales. And, from convention last year and leaders retreat, and Mike got to go with me on leaders retreat, and he said this, I didn't say it. He said, I've seen this stuff displayed from the leaders of Plexus, which I think is huge. Like that I'm not only involved in this in my own character, but that we've seen them from the top say, don't spend your entire day on Plexus. Make sure you're loving your family and you're spending time with them. And so for me to be involved in a company that's coming down from the top, it's not just coming out of what the work that God's done in my heart. It's also I can be involved in this company, not knowing exactly where they stand spiritually. I can align myself with them because they are having good character. Plexus cares that their product is good and that it really is good for people, not just that they have good sales. The people up front are just saying, sell, work really hard, spend your whole day doing this. They're saying, no, be with your family and also work Plexus. Make sure you're doing things that matter and investing in things that matter. And Plexus is something that I can do that with, I think. So I think that was a huge deal. So treating trust as your most precious asset, and I really think it is an asset, and so that has been a huge deal for me. Sorry, I'm pausing. I'm a slow thinker, so I don't like to just talk and ramble on, or I will just lose everything I'm thinking. So I have to pause. I can't just, and I'm not a professional, so sorry. Those of you that'll watch this later. I thought it was a big deal when he was talking about you can't take shortcuts no matter how long you've been leading people, and how he did that one time in his church, and he just made all these decisions, and then how it affected the people around him. And sometimes I worry about what I post on our team page or decisions I make. I'm like, can I really follow through with this? Because, sometimes finishing things is not my strength. Yes, I want people to trust me. Yes, I know about the products and I am trying to build relationships. But sometimes finishing is not the thing that I'm really good at. And so I know that I don't want to take those shortcuts and I don't want to make commitments that I can't keep. And so I thought that was a really big deal. I do want people that I have a relationship with to trust me. And I feel like when I don't follow through, sometimes I break that. And so I feel like that's a big area of my business that I have to work on. So many things I wrote down. This could go on and on. So we're taking a journey together, and I love that about this is that I get to bring people like Crystal along with me, and Terry and Lisa and different people, and see their journey as well. I get to watch them, and I love that he put that in here too, because part of characters that they're agreeing to come into this with me. And Crystal's been with it, she was one of my first people, and she said, I want to go with you. And I'd say, this is hard, but I'm not quitting. She'd say, I'm not quitting either. And I love that, that we have that together, that she's signed on to this journey with me. And I know that she's coming along, and same with signing on with you, Rossi. I knew that I could count on you to bring me along with you on the journey. And that is huge, that we get to do this with so many great people and be on a journey with them. So if people can trust us, then they can jump on our wagon, so to speak, and we can all keep going together. And I think that's really great. I think it's really encouraging too to think that talent alone is not enough, right? He says that in this chapter. And sometimes I struggle with that, like, oh, I'm not gifted in this area. Oh, I'm not super organized. I'm not super disciplined. So those are my weaknesses in this chapter. I'm very much type B personality. I fly by the seat of my pants. I did prepare for this, just so you all know I have lots of pages of notes. So, I mean, that's good for me. But I really do like decide I'm going to do something and I just do it. And I am not super good at that. So there are things that I know I'm lacking, but I'm thankful that character matters and that can pull me along where maybe I'm lacking in discipline. And so some of you might resonate with that with me. You don't feel like a superstar or a maybe you don't feel like you're super gifted in speaking, like I'm not, and you don't feel like maybe there are talents you see in other people and you think you have to have those. And right, he was talking about the football player who has great talent, but his character is totally bad. And so you're going to lose it if you can't, because your character is going to tear you apart if it's not good. And so I feel like that was really encouraging for me, because I think we have these down days and we think, well, I'm not talented enough. I'm not a Bridget or a Rhonda or a Rossi or whoever it is that you're looking to, rather than just pulling up your bootstraps inside yourself and knowing that what God's given you is enough, and that character that he's given you, or maybe the personality that he's given you is enough. So there's going to be people who want to jump on your bandwagon because of who you are, not because of who Bridget is or Rossi or whoever, right? We all have different characters and we're going to attract different people. And so I think to just be thankful for who you are and the gifts that you have, and to use those to the best of your ability and to be trustworthy in that. And I'm really good at letting people know what my weaknesses are. So I felt like that's something that I can, like I'm okay with that, like letting people know like I struggle with this and dealing with it. So so that quote at the end, or I feel like it was more toward the end, that when he was talking about Glory and the movie and how their leader went out in front, right? He got out in front of the troops, and so instead of saying, yeah, you guys go and run up this hill and get killed, he jumps in the front. And so then the quote in the chapter is, the only thing that walks back from the tomb with the mourners and refuses to be buried is the character of a man. This is true. What a man is survives him. It can never be buried. And I just, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about my grandpa. You know, he was so good at saying, wow, this is where I failed in my life, because he lived to be 92. And so in the later years of his life, he would talk to me about the weaknesses that he had and the places that he failed. And he wasn't afraid to share those with me, to say, you know, I really should have told my kids I loved them more when they were younger instead of just taking them places. I should have hugged them more instead of just trying to get on the road and be, you know, he was a pretty good road warrior. So he would take them on these crazy long vacations and stuff. But he felt like there were areas he could have worked on that would have been better in his character. And so that just made me think of my grandpa, because, you know, he didn't do everything perfect in his life, but he confessed his weaknesses and he made sure he went back and worked on that even up until his death at 92. And so we can all be working on our character and building it. We don't have to be discouraged by this. We can be encouraged that there's always work to be done. There's always building, and we need to do that. So so how do I do this? How do I work on character in my business? First, I try to love on people. I try to make sure they know that I love them before I take their sale. You know, I want them to know that I checked out who their kids are. I'm watching what they're doing. I'm hearing when they're saying they're tired or they're anxious or they're struggling with this or that. I want them to know I care about those things and I'm noticing things about their life. I know their kid's in ballet and that they're a great dancer, or I know that their husband's working long hours and they wish they had more money for their family. So I want them to know that I've heard that and that I care about that thing. And even if they say no to me in Plexus, I'm going to pray for them and I'm going to show concern for them and continue that on past my Plexus relationship with them. So that's one of the things I do. I often pray for people that say yes, people that say no, and the people that God may have for me in the future, or who need what we have, who need the money that is setting Rossi's family free, right? Or the money that is helping us to finish this edition in small ways. It's not huge yet, but it's been a huge blessing to us in the way that it is, and I see it continuing to grow. And so praying for people who are on the journey with me and those who are yet to come. So I try to do that. And I definitely let people know. Just last night, I was on the phone with a man from our church whose wife is very ill, and he's looking for anything. And his daughter told him about Plexus and told him to contact me. He has a disease that's not going to go away. And so we talked about that. And I said to him, he said, what sample can I buy? Can I just buy a sample and try it? And I said, you can buy a 3-day sample or a 7-day sample, but what good is that going to do? She's very sick. You're not going to see what you need to see in 7 days. So it doesn't hurt you at all to try this for 60 days, get all your money back. You've tried it for free for 60 days if that's what you need to do. So I talked to him about that last night, and I told him that, okay, hold on. I'm like making sure this isn't my children. My son is at mountain biking practice, and so I really need to make sure he's safe. Since I'm his only contact right now. Okay, it's not him. Okay, so I told him, try this for 60 days. Give it your best shot for 60 days. And you call me on day 58 or 59, and I will help you work out what we need to get your money back if it doesn't work. And I'm totally willing to say that to people because, for one, I really think if they give it a good go, Plexus is going to work for them. And two, I know that sometimes it doesn't work for some people because they're very sick, or maybe they need to put their money where something else might help them in a different way. And I'm okay with saying that to people. I want them to keep taking it, of course, but I also know that it doesn't always work for everybody to put their money in this place. I know it does something for them, but maybe it doesn't work for them. And so I'm pretty honest with people, like, it is my son. I'm going to answer a call right now just to make sure he's not dead. Hello, I'm on my Zoom call, and so everybody's seeing you on Facebook later. I really have to go if you're not hurt. Bye. Sorry. That's real life, see? Can't get around it. So anyway, so I told him last night, I said, just so you know, we're still friends if this doesn't work out, but I really want you to give it a try, and I'm excited for what it might do for her, and we'll find out. And so these stories get me excited, and I love that. I get to share that and get to be honest and get to keep my friendships because I'm keeping my character in it. And I will never tell somebody this will cure your disease. And I've seen that. My mom got confronted by a lady who sells another product, and the lady told her, I can cure your diabetes. And I was flabbergasted, and I, wanted to call the lady and say, are you kidding me? My mom's pancreas is shot. Nothing's going to cure her. Can she feel better? Yes. And could that lady have said that to my mom? Oh, I have this product that might make you feel better. It might help you. It might give you some relief from some of your symptoms. And so I try very carefully to use those kinds of words when I speak to people. This can maybe give you relief of your symptoms. This can balance your body out. This can help you. So I think that is another way to have character, to be very careful of the words that you use and the promises that you make to people about these products. Are they life-changing? Yes. Have they done wonders for people with diseases? Yes. But can we promise those things? No. And so I'm very careful about my words. sorry, I have no idea what time it is. We're almost out of time. Um, so like I said, I assure them that this is a tool and not necessarily a cure, and but it can be good and do amazing things. So, and then I still befriend people after Plexus, right? So Plexus isn't the end of my relationship with anybody. So in ending this, and then if you have questions for me, Rossi, or something else you want me to comment on, or something I didn't say that you wanted me to, for me as a believer, I'm an ambassador to Christ first. And because of that, my Plexus ambassadorship must reflect that relationship first. And so that's what I'm always thinking of when I'm commenting on Facebook. I'm checking my motive, checking my heart. And am I really loving this person? Am I caring for them? Is this message going to convey that I really care about their well-being overall? Am I going to make them think I just care about their money or something trivial like that? I hope not. And so I want my character, my ambassadorship with Christ to be solid, and then hope that that reflects in my business and with the people that I'm loving on by helping them have better health and achieve a better life with Plexus, maybe financially or maybe in their health. And so I know that it's made a huge difference in my health, which I didn't say. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be compliant in this video or not. So I will just say that I was not sleeping well. I had major head pain that would keep me on my couch for several days a month, where my kids were like doing stuff for me. I would tell them to go and get things for the baby or whoever. So I was really struggling. I was struggling with feeling like every task was a huge ordeal. Like, you know, my husband would say, hey, I'm going to have the kids watch the little kids and we're going to go on a date in a couple hours. And I'd be like, it's okay. Let's just stay home. I already have dinner planned. And, you know, I already know what's going on this evening. I don't want to have to decide what to wear. I didn't want to have to figure out where we were going. I didn't want to decide what I wanted to eat. It was a huge deal. Like, who doesn't want to go on a date with their husband? And I started to realize at that point that something was weird, because I'm super spontaneous. Like, okay, whatever, everything goes out the window. We're going to go on a field trip or whatever. If someone calls me and says, hey, can we come over today? I will change my life to hang out with a friend. And so for me to say no to my husband on a date, and I only have 8 kids, is really weird, right? What mom does that? So let me just tell you that has gone away. And we're building an addition that I have decisions every day to make. I mean, do you want molding here today? It's like, what color grout? I could not have handled this a year ago. I would have melted into a huge puddle. So something has changed in my body. I don't know what that whole process is. I don't understand all the science behind it always, but I know that it is different, and that my family is thankful for Plexus, not just me. I'm not the only one who's thankful for it. My family is. My kids mix my pink drink for me and bring it to me most days because they're like, you need this. Like, don't stop taking this stuff. Something changed, you know? So it's been a huge change in my life, and I'm thankful for it every day. And so if nobody else follows me, I'm going to keep taking this stuff because it's huge. And I don't know why God chose to lead me through that without Plexus for a year or so, and then gave me this, but I'm thankful. And so thanks for letting me share with you guys.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I love that, everything you said, you know, building trust and whatever. I started stretching myself because, like I said, consistency is huge for me because I'm not always the most consistent person. And so to know that that's directly linked to my character, I saw that there's a big flaw somewhere. So that's where I wrote it down, like, be consistent everywhere. And I'm finding that I'm lacking consistency in many, many, many different areas. So focusing on those things that help us build our character, you know. But I was thinking too, today, some of you guys heard or saw my post that I had left my wallet. And I'm going to do this, and then I know Mom has something she wants to share, so I want her to share that. But so I called last night when I realized I left my wallet at a gas station, And the man who was so nice at the gas station was who answered the phone. And he's like, did you leave something here? And I said, yes, I left it in the women's bathroom. So somebody had went in the women's bathroom and found it and brought it to him. And so I was telling the Isabel as we were driving there, trying to drive there this morning, I hope that if they took anything, they just took the cash and didn't take my Plexus card. I just want my Plexus card to be in there. Well, after a long drama that took almost the whole day, I ended up there at the gas station to pick up my wallet, and they had not touched a thing. Everything was in there. It was like they didn't even unzip it. And I thought I trust and integrity and character touches people that we don't even know. That person who was honest and trustworthy turned in my wallet and saved our family a lot of grief. And, they'll never know it. Probably they'll never know it. And so I want to be that kind of person where my integrity and my character outreaches so far that I can't even see it. And so it's something it challenged me to my core, this building character, because I want to be a woman of character. So I'm so thankful you shared with us, Linda, because probably in my whole life, I couldn't think of somebody more, just with more character and integrity than you have. No, and I really mean it. I'm a people pleaser, so I like to say what people want to hear. But when it counts, I really mean it. I'm trying to be character in that too. I really, really mean it. When I think of, people in my life who practice out, you can just see it visibly that I trust you and people trust you, and you have always, been honest, and even in times where it's not comfortable. And that's something that challenges me too, because I'm just not confrontational, just like drop stuff. But then it's doing them a disservice, it's doing me a disservice. So I'm so thankful to have you display such you know character and integrity and all of that. And so I'm glad that we all get to learn and watch you and be in this with you. So thankful for you. Mom, you had something, right, that you wanted to share, and then we'll kind of try to wrap it up. We'll maybe finish with you, or if anyone has any questions.
Okay. I loved what you had to say, and it wasn't enough, Linda. It just is so inspiring. One of the things that you said, I don't know if you've always been a person of character like that, but I looked at my life. This was like somebody hit me right across the face with a frying pan, because it made me really stop and look at my life. Even as a little girl, I did not practice character from a little girl. I was always trying to do things that nobody knew about. I was I was deceitful. And those kinds of things followed me into my adult life. And when you talked about how you pause and you're careful about what you say, even when we are people that say what people want to hear, which I did that all the time. I tried to be somebody that I wasn't my whole life. And I realized through this study that that's a character flaw. And when you are a person who likes to say things that you think everybody wants to hear, that's deceitful. And if you say, like for me, if I go and say something that I think somebody wants to hear, or I say, yeah, I'll do that for you, and in my heart, I really don't know if I can do that, and I don't have that commitment, that's deceitful, and that's a character flaw. So I was able to kind of go through my life, and even my kids growing up with my husband, there were times, many times, when and still to this day, walk on eggshells, because I'm always hiding a little something inside of me. I never feel like I can fully divulge who I am. So therefore, I don't commit to my marriage. I don't commit to my Bible study. I don't commit to a task force. I don't commit to meetings. I lack that commitment. And this has been a huge wake up call. What else was I going to say here? Oh, and it was such a habit with me. I had created such a habit as a little girl that I just took that all into my life. And so when you turned around and said that you could change this, it's inspiring to me. And I know God can change anything, but I never really even paid attention to it. that's just the way I was. It never really occurred to me that it was a character flaw, a major character flaw. And my kids, you know, growing up saw me, but they also saw desperation in me that I wanted to be who God wanted me to be, but I really didn't know. I didn't know how to address it, or didn't really realize that it was character. I do now. Were you always a woman of character, Linda, or was that something that you developed over time?
Wow. Well, I think that it's always something we're developing, right? Because
Yeah.
character's never finished. Like, God's the only one who's perfect and has done a perfect work, and so he's always at work in me and in my life. And as a child, I kind of grew up in a rough home situation, and so God truly snatched me out of that situation in my heart, you know. So in my heart, I've been his from a very young age. I mean, before the foundations of the world, yes, but from a very young age, he made that known to me. And so I've always cared a lot about displaying character, because in my family, I was the only believer for a long time. And so I think he has made that important to me, you know, from a young age. And we all struggle, right, with moments of deceit, or things in our heart that we're not displaying on the outside, like all that time that I was struggling so much with feeling anxious about all the little things in life. No one really knew. I kind of kept it to myself because I didn't know if it was a spiritual struggle or if it was a physical problem. But even so, if it was a physical problem, I wasn't really willing to take crazy medication. So, I mean, I guess I've worked on it for a long time, but right, I feel like there's always sin or imperfections or always things trying to creep up, and it is something I really care about. So I think we're never done.
Well, and I think when we're willing to admit our weaknesses, you know, that is huge. Even though I just struggled so much with, and still do, with this character integrity kind of thing. You know, I know it, and I'm not afraid to say it. I called Rossi up just bawling, didn't I, Rossi? I was just crying because I thought this has been a big deal in my whole life. But also on the other hand, it can change my whole life, and I can finish well. I may not have, like I said, may not have started well, but I can finish well.
Yeah, what a blessing, right? That we don't have to stay stuck. And I think that's the beauty of reading a book like this. I think at first I was really discouraged. I was just reading the workbook and listening to the talk, and I'm like, it's the same as the workbook, and I wasn't getting the whole chapter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at so many things. You know, I was feeling that way for the first 3 chapters. And then I got the real book on my Kindle, not realizing I had been missing some. I said to Rossi, am I missing something? Because I'm not feeling what you're feeling. I'm feeling like, oh, I'm a horrible person and I'm terrible, all these things. And what hope is there for me? And so it's good that there's always something we can work on and grow in, and we can work on all these different laws of leadership and become a better person. Christ gives us hope that way. So I'm glad.
Me too.
I think too, going back to, I think a lot of people struggle with being a people pleaser. I really struggle with it. And when Mom said that that's being deceitful, a while ago I did a study, or not a study, it was like a Bible study or whatever, on the recovering people pleaser, you know, and how the people pleaser, we say it's an outward thing, like, you know, it sounds like a nice term, right? A people pleaser, but really it's all selfish. Everything about being a people pleaser is selfish and self-motivated. And so those are hard things. But I love to, Mom, I don't remember who said it, which one of you said it, but just that slowing down, you know. I am like a hit the ground running, and I go, and I say, you know, and I do, when I say I'm going to do like all these things for people, I do mean it. It's just my body doesn't recognize that I mean it, and so it doesn't always come through for me. So slowing down and being mindful, like Linda said, mindful of what I'm saying and mindful of the commitments that I'm making, and then following through and being consistent in those things. So I've had to peel back a lot. We've stopped a lot of things, and I've stopped saying yes to a lot of things, so I can be more mindful of what I'm actually doing, and be consistent in a small amount of things instead of like halfway there in 5 billion different things. But that all comes down to character too, slowing down. And then too, I like visuals, but I think I always look at life in this big picture form. I'm looking at how I'm parenting and Plexus business. I'm seeing all of this, and it's kind of surfacey. And it's like this book, and specifically this chapter now, it's like you're handed a microscope, and it's like, or a magnifying glass, and he's saying, no, look a little closer. You're not seeing the infection that's there, the disease that's there. Your fingernails might look clean, but there's the yuck under there, So it's kind of that taking out that microscope and pinpointing smaller things. There's no way, when I look at my whole life and all my flaws, I'm just the same as you, get so discouraged, like I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to do it. But it's when you take out that microscope, I can fix this right now. So that's what I'm going to, hone in on and zoom in on. And that's what I'm going to work on, and doing one thing at a time, but slowing down so that you can do that. I'm looking, sorry, can you guys see my neck? I got burned so bad. It's so ugly. I look like a leper. It's horrible. I have a huge one on my arm. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just noticed that. Anyway, all that to say, I think this chapter has made me really take a step back and slow down and be a little more nitpicky about my character traits, and fixing and working on the real big flaws that I see, and applying that to our business. I mean, I love this book that we can apply it to everything, right? Mm-hmm. Our kids, our marriage, our everything. I made a list of people I will never, they either totally said no to me, or they tried Plexus, or they're just not, no intention or whatever. I have a new list that I made of people that I'm going to connect with and build relationships with for nothing, just because, just to stretch myself and make sure that my heart motive is across the board good, sending them text messages or asking if there's anything I can pray for, just those things, just to, I really feel like when I'm offering Plexus, I'm the same. I know what it's done for me. I know what financially it's done for our family. Health-wise, it's done for our family and all of my friends. I know what I have as a good thing, and it's not selfish for me to share. It's selfish of me not to share. But at the same time, across the board, for my own, maybe it's just for my own mind or whatever, I want to know that, there's not that motive, that even outside of Plexus altogether, I'm still building relationships and being, committed to other people and putting them before myself, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but I made a new list, and I'm not talking to any of them. I have no intention of talking to any of them about Plexus. It's just purely to just reach out and be there. So anyway,
one thing I was going to say about, not being selfish too, I think sometimes I've thought about going back and apologizing to some of the people that I didn't originally keep up with after, because I really am a person of few close friends. And so trying to keep all these irons in the fire of relationships is really hard for me, but also good for me, I think, because it's stretching me to keep community with more people. But just sometimes I feel like I need to go back and apologize and say, I'm sorry, after you purchased it, I didn't really check in with you like I should. And I'm seeing a difference when I do that now. So, but that was a struggle for me at first, because I was going from trying to, with my few close friends, and then trying to expand that out and still keep track of all these people is sometimes really hard for me, especially being a mom with a lot of kids and busyness at home. I think I already have a lot of relationships in my own house. So, and then, like you said, consistency. And so consistency for me, I was going to say that's a struggle for me. I'm not always, I'm doing my 5-3-1 every day or whatever, but I'm consistently, if I have an opportunity, sharing about Plexus. I'm consistently posting I'm consistently, daily talking to somebody about plexus. So have I reached out to 5 new people and 3 and done my 1 or whatever, but I have every day made some sort of plexus contact with somebody and I'm talking to somebody. And so I think that consistency is good, but it's not always maybe what it needs to be. So like you, it's something I need to work on.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Did anyone, before we close, does anyone have any questions for Linda? If not, we'll kind of
Almost 6.
wrap it up. So, no, it was great. Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So,
Thanks for stretching me.
thank you for stretching me, right? Iron sharpens iron. All right. Well, I hope you guys all have a great night. Love you all. And if there are any questions, just post them in the comments of the page. Yes, Mom?
I blew a kiss.
Oh. Yes. All right. Love you all. Have a good night. And questions in the comments when Mom posts this on the team page. You can ask questions there. So thank you so much, Linda. I'm so thankful for you and thankful that you're willing to share with us.
For you too. So.
All right. You guys all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.